utilizan un término de confusión, la nube. No hay nube, sino las computadoras de otros. Nunca estás haciendo nada en la nube. Es un término para cerrar los ojos. Lo que haces es usar de varias maneras las computadoras de otros. ¿Pero de quiénes? ¿Para qué? ¿Dónde están? Para juzgar esa actividad, ese modo de uso, tienes que saber las respuestas. Pero quieren que no prestes atención a tu seguridad informática. Quieren que uses cualquier cosa como lo propongan.
Okay.
Y por eso.
All right. Hola amigos. How are you? Hope you're doing great. Having a great time in Wales. I would love to be there. It looks really nice. It reminds me also to my homeland, Tierra del Fuego, which is deep down in the south of the American continent, and it's an island too. So I believe that they are familiar or similar landscapes. You know, the wind, the rain, all the stuff. So all right, well, here we are. So this is Sher, and this is a kind of different take on streaming platforms. And today I want to talk to you about the story, you know, behind Sher, because I believe that this is more interesting, and I'm sure that you are like tired of all the technical stuff. So this is like a different take, you know, on that. So like I said, I would like to share a little bit about the story and our motivations, and also talk about this, you know, because with Sher we are trying to target not technical users, but like general users or creators or streamers, but their audiences too. So of course we are using peer-to-peer technologies. Peer-to-peer is what power us and give us like a lot of superpowers, but we need to take that message to the general audience, and that is a challenge. You know, building a peer-to-peer application, it's challenging, but building a peer-to-peer application for general users, it's a little bit more challenging. So add on top of it. So I would like to talk a little bit about that too. So let's start for talking about the team, you know, because Sher is it's a team of 3. We are only 3 developers in the team. I'm Diego here, doing also the work of a CEO or something like that, like being in charge of the business story around Sher, because that is something that we would like to do also, to create a fruitful project around this. And also with me we have Martin and Esteban. Martin works as a CTO, so he's the head of engineering of Sher, and he's like I like to say this is like a joke, but he's like our local Macintosh, you know. He's the South American Macintosh is Martin, because he's really smart. He does a lot of open source collaborations, and you can see some of our work. I'm gonna share the link, the GitHub link of like the company behind all of these. It's called Geut. I'm gonna paste it here. So there you can see, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about some of the open source modules that we use in Sher also. I'm gonna mention that. And so, well, Martin is the head of engineering, and then we have Esteban. Esteban is like the head of product, or he's in charge of thinking about, you know, all these abstractions for the user, so to make things easier for the user to encapsulate or abstract, you know, all the peer-to-peer differences, and give something like that is easy to digest for the end user. And one important thing is that since we don't talk to technical users, we don't have the lack to assume a lot of things from our users, you know. So we need to be simple, straight to the point, and help them to do their job, which in this case is to create, you know, and share content, because this is a platform for mostly creators, we can say. But in for we have like a really small declaration of principles in Share. It's quite simple. It's 3 points. The first one is that our mission is to create or to empower creators with technology, with tools and technology. The second item is that we are outsiders. We consider ourselves outsiders, looking to build a new place. So that's kind of our goal with Share. This is a new place for creators. And third is that we believe that human beings are inherently creative. So one way or another, we are trying to create or to empower everyone with technology. And in this case, with a tool like Share that allows them to share their voice and their ideas. And also monetize on top of that, because that is something that I would like to tell a little bit more later. But yeah, so this is the team, and like our principles or something like that around it. And then, well, we spent like on the technical side, we spent like 1 year building this advanced prototype, we can say. And on February this year, we released it publicly, so people can try it on their own and help us like live testing this, you know, because that's another thing. If you are building peer-to-peer applications, testing peer-to-peer applications is like a whole problem, you know, on itself. So we decided at some point that it will be better to share this publicly and start getting some feedback, real feedback from real users, and users again that doesn't have like a required technical background to use this, and to learn from that feedback and iterate and fine-tune things. So that's one of the things. We did a lot of fine-tuning on the with the codecs that we use, and in order to have low latency, but also to not sacrifice quality. So hopefully you're listening to me in a kind of good quality in comparison with other audio streaming platforms out there. That's the intention, you know, to balance or not sacrifice quality because of doing using like a different channel, transmission channel, you know, because this is not centralized. Again, this is peer-to-peer. So what happens when someone starts a show on Share like I'm doing? So the interface is quite simple. You don't have to install anything. You just enter to share.app, hit on create my show, and you will see like the create show screen. I invite you to do that after the talk, and to try it and tell us what do you think about it. So when you're ready to go live, you share the link like I did in the chat. You share your show link with your audience, and the audience enters to the link like you did, and just hit play and listen. But first you will see that you are connecting to the peer-to-peer network. So the audio, like you are imagining, is being reshared between the audience. So the more the audience, the better. Or we don't need to sacrifice or add more power, more CPU power to like maintain like a healthy network, because the network works like similar to what happens with a torrent. So that's something really cool. And So yeah, that's more or less how it works. And we have a chat also to kind of interact with your audience. That's cool. And then there is this option for the creators to add a link and to monetize using Share. Right now, that is using third-party applications, and it's mostly by using tips, by tipping your favorite creators. So, for example, if you have, I don't know, like a Patreon or something like that, you can link that on your show, and people can collaborate from there. So that is good. That works for a prototype, but in the future we would like to have like more fancy options and like a more built-in tip system that makes not too many shams from the idea to tip someone to the action to actually tip, and just to keep it like more in the application. So that will be like that will improve the tipping experience. And also we would like to add subscriptions, because subscriptions help creators to have like more stable income, and so that is another really cool thing. And one thing that I didn't mention up to this point is that we are building this from Latin America. So right now the team is based in Argentina. We are near Buenos Aires, and we are building this from Latin America to Latinos first. So why that? Why is that? Of course, Share can be used anywhere in the globe. So again, if you want to try it, I really encourage you to do so and try and live stream your ideas. But when we started to seeing things, I mean, there are a lot of creators in Latin America, so that is one good, really good reason to create, like, let's say, a streaming platform from Latin. So there is a lot of people who like to share their ideas, their passions. Here we are super passionate. That sounds a bit cliche, but it's true. So we like to discuss things. We like to share ideas. We like to discuss politics. We like to discuss the things that we love. I don't know, like talk about games, talk about things that we found that are cool and we like to share with others. And so we hope that sharing becomes a space for that in Latin America. The other reason is that again, Latin America is not a prioritized market by like the top platforms. So for example, if you think in live streaming today, maybe you will think immediately in Twitch or YouTube. You will think about those options first, maybe. And those are great options. They work quite well. But when it comes to Latin America, since they don't prioritize the region so much, sometimes for the creators, so for example, if I become a creator on Twitch in Latin America, Twitch works using a subscription model, so people can subscribe to their favorite streamers, but the cost of a subscription is around $5. And $5 maybe in other economies it's not that much, but in Latin America $5 it's something, because most of the currencies here are devaluated or has really heavy inflationary problems. So $5 it could be a lot of money to spend on something like that, maybe. So we can offer a better pricing model by using peer-to-peer and by prioritizing the region or region. So creating something for Latin America is also say something like it's like a statement, because we are building for our own people here first, giving them the best tools because they need those tools. They need better subscription options, better subscription models that works with their, I don't know, their local bands, or they give some better options to collect this money. Like, there are a lot of things to do that, again, maybe the top companies, since they don't prioritize the region, they don't do it, or they don't care that much, And so that's one of the reasons that we are trying to build and pivot the message to better address, our own region. So, for example, the platform Share.app can be used in English and in Spanish. You can switch from English to Spanish, and that is a little detail that we have in there. Connecting this idea of building for this region first, and trying to give like a better deal for creators, and connecting this idea with peer-to-peer. This is something that we are about to share. We are working on an article where we highlight all these things that I mentioned, and we add like more data to accompany these ideas. Well, if we combine this direction with a platform that works using peer-to-peer technology, we can create like a really good deal for creators as a result, and also for their listeners, because the main idea is that since we are doing peer-to-peer streaming, and peer-to-peer streaming costs way less in terms of infrastructure and service costs, we have like a very low platform service cost in comparison with centralized solutions out there. So we can what we can do with that difference is to give like a better return, better payout to creators. So for example, if you are a creator on Twitch, and the platform cut in Twitch is around 50%. So if I receive a subscription of $5, I'm gonna get as a streamer, I'm gonna get 2.5, and Twitch will get the rest. YouTube does a little better job here, and YouTube gives the creator the 70%. So the platform cut is 30%, and they get the 30%. Using peer-to-peer technologies, we can offer a really good platform cut, like a really good ratio. We can offer like the creators 80% at least, and maybe even a little bit more, a little bit higher, to 90. But to reach 90% returns, we will need to do a couple of things before that. But we believe seriously that we can with Sher we can give like the best returns to creators, the best payouts to creators in the market. So that is tangible. So that is a tangible difference that you can do using like a peer-to-peer, or creating a product on top of peer-to-peer technologies. And that's where the things start to magic, because the matching start to happen, because that's where all the pieces connect, and for example, if we give like this 80% to the creators, we can even lower the subscription price. So maybe we can be on $4 or $3, and we can tweak the things and do this leverage thing with using peer-to-peer technologies. So there are a lot of variables in place, and again, by building on top of peer-to-peer technologies and creating a platform to this and offering a service on top of this, we can end up creating like these win-win situations for creators and their audiences. And this is something really exciting, and we are really happy to continue our journey, building Sher. And I guess that's pretty much that covers again like pretty much the whole story behind Sher. It's a small team, but again we care about what we do, and the platform is publicly available, so anyone who would like to use it is free to use it. We have some kind of ethics code that is the only thing that you will need to comply, and we are quite proud of that ethics code, because it's like a code of conduct. I guess it's called code of conduct. It's in the legal side, and it's ethics codes, and it involves like we have the help of a lawyer, and it has like you have to comply with some things based on human rights and things like that. So we are pretty happy with that ethics code, and again we would like to have like a platform that spread like good things and like good ideas, and becomes a healthy place for anyone using it. That's the idea behind this in part, we can say. So I'm seeing a question. This is about Apple and Google take 30% cut because Google Pay. Oh yeah, it depends. But again, with using like this peer-to-peer stack in the background, I guess that this gives us a lot of room to play, with different variables, and we believe that this is something quite interesting to do and to create on top of this. So, for example, one thing that we would like to play in the future, hopefully, is with the seeding side of the story, because that is another part that we didn't spend that much time building things for the seeders. But for example, let's think about this. So for example, I'm a streamer and you are my audience, my listeners, and you love the shows or my show, my streaming, and for example you would like to help me by seeding my last show. And so in order to have that show available when I am offline, so that will be a really cool thing to do. And and maybe we can like give something in exchange, so for example, if you are seeding my show, maybe you can have like something in return, maybe like some cool emojis or maybe some credits on something. I mean, there is a whole narrative that we can create on top of this, and we believe that could be quite fun to explore. Mars said, I'm reading the chat also in the way. By the way, feel free to ask anything, put it in the chat. Mars said, interesting code of ethics. Is a war she and Sher related? No, Sher, it's like it's hard to name things, and back in the time when we started with this project, we did a vote between all our members, and Share was like the option that we all vote. It's like in Spanglish for sharing. I hope that is noticeable. I don't know, but yeah, it has some female vibes maybe, but yeah, it's more like it comes from the some sort of Spanglish or thing like that, from sharing. And what the listeners are doing when they listen a show in Share is to reshare, the audio. Nisha Verdi says, if someone is new to peer-to-peer and wants to understand how this works, how can they be sure this is truly peer-to-peer? This is a good question. It's a good one. Because if you, for example, I didn't share any code yet. There is one thing. I just share our github.com.goat. Goat is like the company that was before Share. Like Share is kind of a spin-off from Goat. It's the same people, Martin, Esteban, and I. But Share maybe will become like its own entity with some time, But again, if you go to GitHub Goat, you will see that there are some open source modules. Some of them are related to, like, for example, Discovery Swarm WebRTC, something that we use. Then we have Stati. This is another really cool module that we are using in the background in Share for manage the state. Then the application is React and the front end mostly. And then we did some things with web codecs, with WASM. There is a lot of WASM involved, and hypercores. We didn't share the whole our own source code yet, and we will see how to do that we don't have a plan to share that as soon as possible. But yeah, maybe we could add some. I mean, one of the ways to try this is to try it on your own time. So, for example, you create a show and share with your friends, and you will see how the audio is retransmitted from one listener to another. You can play a little with that, and but yeah, there is another tool that is like an analytics that we would like to give to the creators so they can know more about their listeners, and there we have like this connection graph, you know. So that kind of things maybe are like interesting for the people that who would like to like is more like tech savvy, or that knows more about peer-to-peer and what happens in the background. But but that is not important for everyone, you know, at least at the beginning. And that is something that we need to deal again when we are building a product that is intended for everyone. Because, for example, with Share, you also have like a really good privacy model. Because, for example, this show is not a public show, it's a private show. So I'm sharing this private show with all of you because you are like are my friends, and this is like a conference. And but this is not public. If you go to share.app, you will see there the public shows, you know, the people who on purpose share their public shows, and share.app becomes like a place where they can find other shows, you know, in the future when we have more and more shows. But for those creators and general creators, we can say general people, the average show is the medium where you are transmitting the technologies, the audio and the streaming is not that important, or the privacy maybe is not that important. And this may sound crazy because we are all super tech savvy, and if we are here is because we love peer-to-peer stuff and decentralization and all those things. But that is not prime time yet, you know. That is not super popular to create a business on top of this. And more, if you're trying to build a project or a platform or a product that is intended to be used for anyone. So of course we would like to talk more and more about the peer-to-peer cool things or the cool side, but in the end, if we are going to and talk with or creators or streamers, and if we talk about this peer-to-peer stuff and all that, they will maybe they won't care, you know, and they will care about the 80% cut, you know, and things like that. So we need to balance. But for example, we plan to redo our website to better address or creators, maybe to do it in English and Spanish too. And we plan to add an infography there that explains a little bit this with some illustrations and things like that are more easy to digest. What is the technology behind Share? Well, I mentioned briefly this, but we are using React, we are using Wasm, Web Codecs, Hypercores, and Hyper-V 2. So more or less that's the combination. One thing that I didn't mention, which is really, really important, is that all this work has been bootstrapped by us. And since the payments are if a creator receives some payment, is because they are using a third party, so we don't see any money from that transaction. So right now, up to this point, Share is purely 100% bootstrapped by us. It was developed by us and it's bootstrapped by us. And we want to create a business on top of this. That's one of the reasons. We need to pay the bills, we need to pay the rent, and again, that is something that we want to do. And of course, what I'm trying to say is that we want to add more and more features. We want to work more and more on Share, but all of those things takes time, and time is money in this world. So that is quite difficult to accomplish. But again, yeah, hopefully at some point we will be able to integrate, I don't know, with some, like, for example, if we want to use Stripe here, Stripe is a really good option for the United States, maybe for Europe, but for Latin America, Stripe doesn't have like really good conversions of money, and so we don't want to charge people in a foreign currency. If I show you, like our audience see like something that goes in dollars or not in their own currency, they will maybe they won't tip the creator, they won't subscribe to the creators because they will be afraid of the costs. So that's another thing that we have to deal with, and there are other platforms, but they are way not as cheap as a Stripe, like an option. And again, that will take time, time to develop and integrate that into the application. So yeah, that is something that where we are. So Copper Monkey says, can I build an app and embed Sher into my app, but maybe a different theme or any chance that... Cool question, Copper Monkey. Embedding is something that we would like to work on. It's not that hard. I believe that we can add embedding without much effort. And our main reasoning for not adding embedding at the very beginning was to bring people to Sher.app, to bring the attention into Sher.app. But I believe that that idea changed in our mind a little bit, because we believe that if we allow like a good embed option, it could work like with what happens with Twitch. You will see the Twitch logo, you will notice that you are like on a Twitch streaming, so you will notice that you are on a Sher streaming somehow, and of course you can click and go to Sher.app. So embedding is a cool thing to do, and could help us to spread more and more the word about Sher. So it's something that we will definitely will work on too quite soon, hopefully. And theming is another really good question, because theming is something that we would like to add again soon. Maybe theming is not that simple because we are using a lot of material UI. Material UI is not that sometimes you want to tweak and it doesn't work as intended, and we want to replace that. Tailwinds looks really, really good. We are using Tailwinds a lot in other projects, so we believe that a change like that could give us like more flexibility and could help us to bring or deliver or give more options to our creators, and theming could be one of those things. But if we switch from material to Tailwinds to add theming, that will cost a lot, So, but yeah, theming is something that is in our mind, Right now, you can edit your show name, add a description. You can add your own like logos and cards. If you go public, and Sher.app, you can edit the show card there, things like that. But yeah, we will love to add more theming options. That will be awesome. Ninja Verde says, what about cryptocurrencies? Open Collective, for example, is starting to accept donations in crypto because it's cheap, fast, and international. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, that is something really good because it will be really neat to add like a cryptocurrency payments option. We need to dig more around that. What are the best options? If there is a way to do somehow like pay-ins and payouts using crypto, that will be phenomenal. But if we manage to create more time to work on these things, like working and learning more about how to add some really neat cryptocurrency payment option, that will be phenomenal. One thing that I didn't mention, I believe is important, is that, for example, and it's hard also because we don't promote ourselves as a Web3 project, and we kind of identify more with the DWeb tag, the distributed web. And there are a couple of reasons behind that. One is that we love the web. The Sher team loves the web. and we love we love to combine the web with the decentralized world. We believe in that. The other thing is that the sadly the Web3 tag is almost purely related with blockchain, and again, I guess that you may heard this a lot from other talks in Wizard Amigos and in this space, because this is more like a peer-to-peer space. The peer-to-peer space is also a decentralized space, So, but if today, sadly, if you mention decentralization, people will connect that with blockchain like almost automatically, and peer-to-peer is another way of decentralization, and blockchain is another way of. They coexist, and what I'm trying to say here is that we didn't add or tag ourselves into that collective because we don't need or we don't believe in adding tokens or cryptos purely as the main motivation behind this platform, because that will what happens with that is that the intentions maybe or the motivations behind a project, they are towards they go towards like the money side purely, and it's like speculation all the time, and your idea started as a way to help streamers, to do their job better, more efficiently with better technology, and then it goes to being all about money and adding features, just thinking about how others will talk and if your coin or your token will go up. It's a way that it's related with the incentives. We believe that the incentives here are like sharing ideas, sharing your voice, and of course, if you're sharing good content, it will be super fair enough too,